Hello, welcome to my video. Today I'm taking you through a fantastic race that I had last night in the 9:45 race of the Formula Renault 2.0 official races. There was a couple of really good map racing guys in there and some really top level drivers from the world of Formula Renault 2.0. So first things first, we're going to get to my qualifying lap. So as we come to start the lap, going slowly into the chicane just to get the best run so I can get on the power as early as possible. Then we come stick tight to the curb. We don't stick quite as tight to the wall as we want to, as we would do if we were finishing the lap, but still quite tight. Then slowly let the car move over to the left again to open the track up for you to make this fast first corner possible. So you go in, it's a quick drop down to 6th gear, then to 5th, then to 4th, and then if you need to you go into 3rd as well, but 4th or so will do. Then you come through up into 5th gear. You take this first one in 5th as you're coming off the throttle, a little bit of brake, then down to 4th gear, then back on the power, again down to 4th gear, into this last little section of the S. This is a wonderful section of track where you've just got to be so precise. You've got to be on the curb, you've got to be on the apex, then flat out for Dunlop, as long as you got the car lined up correctly. And then prepare yourself for the most difficult two corners on the circuit, Degner 1 and Degner 2. As you come in, you brake once, down 1 gear, and then come again and down 2 gears for second Degner. And if it looks good, it should look something like that. Then we're coming up to one of the most iconic corners on the circuit, is the hairpin. Lots of incidents and accidents always happen here. You've got to get in tight, get it slowed down, get on that apex and get on the power as quickly as possible. And then you come down to the most iconic corner on the circuit, which is the spoon curve. A downhill left-hander that falls away from you all the way down until you start going down the back straight. So as you come in, if you get into 7th but you don't, you just drop it down into 5th gear and then into 4th, and then just carry that speed all the way through, keeping on the apex, nail the power as quickly as possible and head off down the straight. Again, you want to cut to the inside of the circuit, making the shortest possible line, just so you knock off those extra couple of thousandths of a second. Then you come into 130R, which these days is completely flat without a thought of a lift. And then into the old chicane, brake hard, down into 2nd gear, hit that first curb, and then miss the 2nd curb, straight on, power down, keep it as tight to the wall as you possibly can, and there you go, there is your qualifying lap. That was a 1:59.8, good enough for 5th on the grid for this race. And we move to the grid, and they're getting ready. Lights will go out shortly, and they're off. Lots of wheel spin from all over the place. And as we see, they go all separated down into the first corner. Everyone keeps it pretty nice and tidy, to be honest, up at the front. I've stayed in the position that I'm in. I've given a wide berth to the car next to me, just because I don't quite know where he's going to go. But Ludwig's normally quite a fair racer. As again we head through the S's, we're all going about half speed through here. I think everyone's just trying to not trip over each other and look after each other so that we can continue through and actually get through the race. Because if you have a spin or a crash here, you generally end up in a wall, and that's your race over. So as we see, we got Tim just a couple of cars ahead of me, having a look at James into the Degner 1. He runs a little bit wide, so that gives Matthew a chance to get up the inside. I have a think about it as well, but it's a little bit too risky. So I decide to fall back in and just watch what's going to happen up later on in the race. Again, giving a wide berth to the car coming up behind me, just because you just don't want to get too close. Trying to stay out of trouble, because you've got to think about your I rating and these sorts of things. I rating and safety rating can take a battering if you get punted off in the first couple of laps. Take one hit, get some damage, and all over. Heading into spoon curve for the first time, I get a really good run, but then I decide to have a little bit of understeer and just run it off, and I hit the bump there, which annoyingly gave me 1x. But that was the only X I'd get for the whole race, which is really good, because I normally get quite a few. Coming down into 130R for the first time, everyone starts jostling for position because the draft here is really powerful. You can get some really good launches on people, as I do here on Tim, and I have a go into the first chicane and I just miss out, but I get a much better line on the exit and I get right up behind Tim. As I'm coming up behind Tim here, and I'll pull out to go past him, as I'm doing this, I tell him that we need to work together so we can go and catch Matthew in front. But as you'll see shortly, that doesn't quite happen. We go into turn 1 side by side, he gives me the room, and we live to fight another day, and off we head off into the wonderful S's. It really is awesome driving through the S's every single time, especially because when I normally race, I race in VR, and VR just gives an entirely different experience to driving from what I've come from, which was a console, onto VR. It's just a different world. You know, you are sat in that race car at that venue. But now I've got Tim again having a look around. He's having a look, but he'll never have a lunge into Degner 1 because it's just far too risky, because you touch the curb there and you will spin, and there's no way to get 2 cars through there without touching the curb, unless you've got lots and lots of grip, which we don't really at the moment. Coming back into the hairpin, I'm keeping an eye very, very closely on Tim, because Tim is quicker than me here. He's got a couple of tenths on me, so I do have to watch out for him. So here we go, Tim's trying to have another look, but again leaves me that little bit of room. Me and Tim have raced together many, many, many times, so we know exactly what we can and can't get away with from each other. So again, but now what it's done is given him the opportunity to line me up down the straight, and as I said before, the slipstream down here is very, very powerful. So he goes to have a look, he jinks to the inside to have a look up my inside. I'm a little bit defenceless to do anything about it, but I do try to run around the outside, hold on for as long as I possibly can, but I do have to bow out to the end. I quickly move to the outside to give myself a better run through the chicane to hopefully try and get a better run down the straight. So again, I pick up the draft, I move out to the outside as we come down, tearing down to turn 1. We're still side by side as we go in, and we stay side by side. Now at this point Tim is still there. I've given him all the room that I can possibly give him, so we turn 1. Now one thing you don't do is go side by side through the S's. So what do? Well, we go side by side through the S's. Tim holds on beautifully. I'm still hanging around the outside. However, I know it's lost here as I take the inside line, but it gives Tim the inside line for the following part of the S, and I have to yield the position back to Tim. He's kind of got away from me a little bit here, but I get a really good run out of Dunlop, and I think about having a look. I make him go defensive to hopefully maybe curse him into a mistake, but Tim is solid as a rock and doesn't make any form of errors like that. And again, away off and underneath the bridge. Now what's happened is we've been fighting so hard. I think this lap ends up being like a 2-minute 2, and we had a 3 or 4 second gap to the guys behind. They have caught us right up. I've realised this, and I need to get back past Tim, because if I don't get back past Tim, I'm at threat of being swallowed up from the 2 guys behind. And as you can see, I make that dive to have a look into the inside of Spoon, but I'm just not quite there, so I had to back out. Again, I try and get a really good run to just stay in Tim's slipstream. So if I stay in Tim's slipstream, I have a better chance of staying ahead of the 2 cars behind. My issue here at the moment is Tim has a little bit more pace than me, and I'm struggling to keep up, and only the slipstream is helping me. I go to come around here and have a look around the outside of 130R, but I just can't make it stick. Again, I have a look to the inside, but think better of it, go back to the outside to get my optimum line for the chicane. As we exit the chicane and head down the straightaway for another lap. I get another really good slipstream with Tim. Again, I have to go to the outside because, well, if I went to the inside, he would definitely close me off, and it's not worth the risk. I try to hang around the outside again. I get a little bit ahead on the entry to the corner, but Tim has the better line going in, so manages to stay ahead. Again, all this time we are fighting. The 2 cars behind us are catching us hand over fist. They're closer now than they've ever been before. You got Ludwig Rankorn in the car right behind me. Then the car behind him is Dylan Freckleton, someone I'm not very aware of, but he's keeping up with us, so must be somebody to take note of. As we now jump to us coming down the back straight towards 130R. I've lost Tim a little bit, and the other two are in my slipstream, so I'm in a little bit of danger here. I just try to be absolutely perfect, go as straight as I can to not scrub any speed, turn as small amounts as possible. But Ludwig gets a massive run, and as you can see, right up the inside of him, has a huge dive. I give him the space not to hit him, but then try to cut back. But I don't quite manage to get it just yet. But again, I tuck in with the slipstream. Again, I've got Dylan right behind me, who will also be looking to have a go if something should happen. And then here we go. Dylan is in the slipstream of Ludwig as well, and he is going to go to the right-hand side. And we're going to go 3 right into turn 1, but Dylan thinks better of it. I'm trying to go around the outside and think better of it. Ludwig has the position. Dylan tries to come back up the inside of me, but there's no way I'm having that. Shove him off to the side of the track to try and enter the S's again. And now I have to go and chase Ludwig. What I didn't want to happen has happened, which is me and Tim were fighting so much that we've lost ground, and now I've been overtaken and dropped even further back down the pack. So you now find us on the run up to Spoon Curve. I've caught him up a little bit, so now is the chance to get through the corner nice and smoothly on the power early, so I can slipstream him down the straight towards 130R. As we go through, I do get on the power nice and early. I do manage to get a big gain coming out of the corner, and he's seen this. He's moved once, he's moved twice. Now in standard racing rules, you cannot move a third time. So, will he move the third time? I move out, I trust him, and he doesn't. I manage to have the inside into 130R, and I take the place nice and cleanly. However, in my excitement of getting past him, I miss my braking point by a millimetre and run a tiny bit wide, which gives Ludwig the chance to come back straight back at me. He's almost already got the overlap. He's carrying more speed, so surely will get me down into the next corner. Again, he pulls out and Dylan pulls out, and Dylan then pulls out and goes to the right and the left. Again, we're 3 wide. I'm in the middle this time. I hold my line. Dylan backs out. Good on Dylan. But Ludwig again pulls a little bit of a gap. So this is a worry. I hope he doesn't get away, because the last thing I want to do is then lose a place to Dylan. We again find ourselves on the run down to Spoon Curve. Again, I've managed to close in on Ludwig, so again I will try my best to get the best exit through this corner, as Ludwig flashes as his internet has a problem. Very off-putting and distracting, that is. So if you've got poor internet and you plan on playing iRacing, don't, or get it sorted before you start playing iRacing. So I'm now in the slipstream of Ludwig. He hasn't actually moved this time and doesn't actually go to defend too much, which is nice and easy for me. So I get the inside into 130R unchallenged, and I don't get overexcited this time, and I don't miss my braking point. But Ludwig brakes really late and comes up the inside of me, but I managed to avoid him and get away. And the good thing is because Ludwig made that move, he dropped further behind me. We now move our attention to the battle behind me, which is Dylan and Ludwig. Dylan is having a look at Ludwig into the hairpin, but messes up his braking, locks up and hits the back of Ludwig, spinning Ludwig round, and that's it for them in their battle to try and catch me, because this puts them 6 or 7 seconds behind me, and Dylan's got a broken front wing, so he'll need to pit to fix that, and that gets them out of my way. So for the next few laps there was no real interesting footage with me, because I was just trying to chase Tim down. But what you've got now is the battle for second place. Matthew Mulbauer and Missed Apex's James Wingfield chasing down for second place. Wingfield has been reeling in Matthew Mulbauer, and this is coming into the penultimate lap, so he's trying very hard, doing qualifying kind of laps, trying to take every single risk that he possibly can. But unfortunately, he comes to the exit of Spoon, runs a little bit wide, hits the bump, the car wiggles, and he's hit the wall. Now, the damage model on these cars is very forgiving, so it just takes out his front wing. But as you can see, Tim is very close in the background. He's obviously lost this battle now to Matthew Mulbauer. So now we see Tim, who is closing, and then I'm not too far away in the background. Can James hang on as we head into the S's? And as you can see, Tim is getting closer and closer as we come up to Degner 1 and Degner 2. Tim already has a look. Tim smells blood and is really going for it now as we go under the bridge. Tim moves to the inside. James doesn't really do too much to defend it, but what we get is a little bit of netcode, and James hits the side of Tim, spins round and goes off the circuit. then I'm not too far behind. Can I make the pass? I can! I managed to get back past him, which was fantastic for me, because it takes me up to 4th place, just behind Tim. As you can see, James can't do anything about it. He's got a damaged car, he's been off the road, and this is the final lap. As you can see me come through the chicane to take the checkered flag in what was an exciting race, especially after relatively poor practice for me the previous night in our group session. But that's it. So that was me from 5th to 4th, and with some fantastic racing for the Suzuka race. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click the bell notification icon so you know whenever I post a new video or go live. I'll be going live on Wednesday nights on iRacing for the Formula Renault 2.0 official races. I do the 9:45 race, so come and watch me live there and chat along, or I'll post out a few videos like this, or I'll do a couple of live streams playing the VR game Onward, and I'm hoping to start a new series soon where I'll be live streaming myself playing Half-Life Alyx, which is a horror game where things jump out at you and make you scream. So please come along and watch that. Thank you very much. Goodbye.